a victory cocktail this evening for me, not just a bourbon. I'll tell you all about that in a second. But first, it's Saturday, December 20th at 8:40 p.m., 5 days from Christmas. Hope your Christmas shopping's done, Boilermaker boys and girls. Purdue's improved to 11-1 after routing the Auburn Tigers, exacting a bit of revenge from last year's game. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. But first, let me thank the people that made my t-shirts, actually under my Boiled Sports issued quarter zip. Homefield Apparel. Head over to homefieldapparel.com. Pick up a shirt like what I've got with the band script, or one with the basketball script, or something different. Maybe the block piece sweater, the heavy-duty knit sweater that is old-timey and it's beautiful, and you should wear one. Or you should buy one for your pal Boiler Dowd. I'd like an XL. It's that easy. Just spread the Christmas love that way. Homefieldapparel.com. Tons of cool retro stuff, high-quality gear. Can't go wrong. Also, when you're at Mackey Arena and you've watched Purdue exact some revenge from an opponent from the previous season, easy for me to say, what do? Well, you take the 5 to 7 minute jog towards the fire station. Then when you get to that fire station, it's a little cool outside. You're gonna be going pretty quickly. You're gonna turn. You're gonna make it's harder than a 90-degree angle. You head in there and you're gonna say, "Pint me up, pint me." And if it's a game day, at the bottom of that pint, you'll get a Boiled Sports magnet. But that's just where the goodness starts. It gets better from there. Maybe you get some mac and cheese bites. I don't know. It's your call. Do what you want to do. Maybe get some of those pretzels that I love so much. Again, a mixed drink, whatever. Have a root beer. They have delicious XXX root beer on draft. They have burgers. They have beef. They have beer. The finest meats and cheeses. AJ's. EatAJ's.com. They're incredible. Okay, so what do we see in Indianapolis tonight? First off, I am cozy in my house. I am not far from Indianapolis. I am in the greater central Indiana area, and I didn't want to go to this game. The reason I didn't want to go to this game is I don't really enjoy Purdue in Indianapolis all that much. I've been there for a lot of games, especially around Christmas time, that I didn't love, and I still have that bad taste in my mouth from that old whatever the hell it was called, the event that they canceled with Notre Dame and Butler and IU. And I was like, I don't really want to go that much. I did look at ticket prices once. They were a little bit more expensive than I wanted to spend. Then I had a friend say, "Hey, I've got a couple available." And I said, "I think I'm going to do some family stuff." And we did family stuff today. Great deal, great decision. And because of my decision, Purdue rolled. It's that simple. I think that's how it works. What did Purdue do today? Well, they beat up on Auburn. Quite frankly, Purdue dominated on the inside. Purdue's three-point shooting was on display as many guys off the bench showed what they can do from deep. Braden Smith was just dishing assists out for everyone. I think he had 8 first-half assists, and he was on the shelf by about the 4.5, 5 minute mark left in the second half. Finishes with 14 assists, and I haven't dug too deep into the stats. I will here in a second. But what Smith did was just command the game. Quite easily, just command the game. I don't know how many turnovers Purdue had. It didn't feel like a whole bunch. Surely wasn't a problem. Pardon me. But Purdue was dominant. Purdue was good on the inside as well. All 3 of Purdue's bigs played very, very well. I don't know who, this is a joke, I don't know who Auburn's coach is, but he's not as good as Bruce Pearl. He's just not. It's a joke. Stephen Pearl, of course, is Bruce Pearl's successor because there's no nepotism there. But he took over because Bruce quit coaching to give his son a shot. He might be fine. I don't know, but he's not Bruce Pearl. And one thing you saw at the end of the game was when Purdue was up by a lot, there was a play where Meyer got the ball in a breakout, and there was not an Auburn player nearby. It was a pretty unusual play, and Meyer just kind of flipped it to Benter, who dunked. Benter drew at least 2 charges and was given credit for 2. And then there was another play that he deserved a charge on that the refs robbed from him because they called one of the cheapest push fouls you'll ever see on C.J. Cox. But Jack Benter was a force today. I've been talking about Jack Benter all season. He does the little things. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's got enough nasty in him to help a team. He played really, really well. Another guy that played really well, especially in the first half, C.J. Cox was hitting big shots. I think he had Did he have 4? I think he had 4 threes in the first half. And then Jakari Harris picked up for him by hitting 3 or 4 threes. I'll look at the stats here in a second. And Jakari had at least 10 points off the bench, double digits. I'm not sure how many he had, but so that doesn't make any sense. He didn't have 4 threes. He probably had 3 threes. Look at my math. I'll check in a second. The long and short is Purdue did whatever they wanted to do tonight. The cool factoid from the NBC broadcast team in the back in the studio was Braden Smith had 14 assists and Auburn had 13. That's pretty great. And I think that's kind of the whole story is just Purdue just taking control and keeping it. Auburn was the 21st best team in America. Purdue looked like a top 5 to 6 team. And Auburn looked like a team that couldn't play with them today, quite frankly. Okay, let's look at the stats together, shall we? Purdue wins 88-60, like I said. I think they improved to 11-1, didn't they? ESPN says 10-1, but I think they're 11-1. I want to look at turnovers real quickly. Yeah, Purdue had 11 turnovers, so not great. Auburn, let's see, one other thing I wanted to see because, yeah, Auburn kind of got done what they wanted to do, kind of. Purdue fouled a little bit in the first half, not at the rate that Auburn is used to going to the free throw line. They're one of the best teams in America at getting the free throw line. Purdue got 14 fouls total. So it wasn't one of those games where it was like lopsided in Purdue's favor where they were just drawing a ton of fouls. It was more like pretty even there. But Purdue flexed their muscle on the inside. That's really the big story. Like I said, Trey Kaufman-Renn, 18 points, 9 of 13 from the floor, 6 boards, an assist, and it was a beauty, the assist he had. They were playing the double post with a high and a low post, and I think he threw one to Clough. Clough finished with 6 points, 7 boards. The bigs just did what they were supposed to do. Braden Smith, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block. It's kind of what he does when he's on. Like, it's just kind of business-like, and you look at the box score, quite good again. Fletch Lawyer, the shooting, man, 0 for 7. That's, come on. Come on, Fletch. Come on, Fletch. I don't understand it. I really don't understand that. He's had a couple games this year where he's started off cold, but 0 for 7 on the game. I'm not kidding. Maybe he's got like a vision issue or something. I don't know what's happening there. That's not a shooter's line. Even a bad game, a shooter will go 2 for 7. So Fletch's got to kick us into gear. He finished with 8 points, 3 boards, an assist, only a turnover. Played 29 minutes, and he played well away from that. He had a couple of real heads-up plays. He had one really boneheaded play where he just stepped on the out-of-bounds line. Not going to focus on that. C.J. Cox, like I said, 5 for 8 from the floor. Only, is that right? No, 4 for 7 from deep, 14 points. And let's go look at Harris since I said, okay. So Harris finishes with 12 points and did hit 4 3-pointers. It was 4 for 6 from the court with 4 boards. Also off the bench, Daniel Jacobson had 4 points. Jacobson was not getting much love from officials. And if you go back and watch this tape, I think you're going to find the same thing. By the way, Fran McCaffrey is coaching Penn. I didn't know that. They're playing Rutgers right now in my quad view. Just a factoid for you. I don't understand why Daniel Jacobson doesn't get any calls. And it'll be simple, like he's in the block, and a dude just comes up and hooks him, drags him to the ground, nothing. I don't get it. I don't get it. Murphy came in off the bench, he had 3 points, and this box score is incomplete. Let's see who else. Yeah, that's good. I think we'll just call it there. Next up, Purdue plays in 9 days. They've got their longest break of the season, a long Christmas break, a time to take a little time with family, and also get ready for the Big Ten schedule. Before they do that, they play, who's it, Akron or Kent State? I'll tell you right now. Yeah, Kent State, and then they've got Washington. The Big Ten schedule commences. So commences, not the right word since it already started. Purdue's 2-0 in the Big Ten, and it hasn't started yet, kind of. So a good break, and this is the time, back when Purdue teams were kind of like on the cusp of being great but weren't quite great, where Matt Painter would earn his money. And he'd have those teams dialed in by the time they'd come in for the new year. And we could see a little of that magic this year, just in a couple of tweaks. I still think there are some guys that haven't seen their full blossoming yet, and I think we will see them. All right, a lot of you guys are here to talk a little bit after the game. Chris Harder's first. Said, what am I drinking? All right, so what I made tonight, I started off with a barrel strength. It's a finished rye. Who's it from? I can't remember who it's from. But a barrel strength finished rye with amaretto on top. It's called a Godfather, 50-50. Very, very good drink. I suggest it to anyone. If you like bourbon, so if you got something a little spicier that can hang with it, it's like an old fashioned, but a little sweeter. Really nice finish. So nice cherry finish, cherry almond finish. So it's a great pick though. Great pick. Try it, Chris. You'll like it. Thad Grubauer says, let's go. Marshall Briggs is here. He's second. He's actually third. Big Time Boiler Grant says, great statement win. Let's keep it rolling. And this is one of those wins that you've got to, it's one of the best sports days of the year this year. If you look at what's on, it's awesome. The quad view is incredible. You've got NFL, you've got college football playoff, you've got Texas Tech playing Duke right now. By the way, Texas Tech has lost their lead. They were up a minute ago. Duke is up by 3. That was LBD's upset of the day. That's what he was picking, was Texas Tech over Duke, and he likes the way Texas Tech's bigs match up with Duke's young bigs who can get pushed around a little bit. Good analysis. I don't know if he's right. We'll see. Duke's pretty athletic, and they can score, so we'll see. See as the game wears on. Ed Albanese is the gummy bear king of Indiana, says, so Auburn got B-slapped today. Yeah, that's a good thing. And I could not believe, if you haven't seen that quote from Bruce Pearl, he was complimenting Matt Painter, and he said, we B-slapped, didn't say B, Purdue last year. And I was like, what? Why do that? Why do that right there? And then he just was complimentary of Painter. If you ever had a second where you're like, man, I kind of like Bruce Pearl. He's a pretty classy guy. And then you hear him say that. You're like, okay, never mind. That's what Pearl does for me, where I'm like, yeah, I kind of like this guy. He's kind of growing on me. Maybe he's softened in his old age. He does stuff like that. I'm like, oh, no, it's still Bruce Pearl. All right. Kevin, PhD. Dr. Kevin says, well, that was pleasant win. Fletch from Fletch notwithstanding. Fletch from 3 was abysmal. But yeah, everybody else was good. And that's a nice cruise game. My wife is making Christmas cookies. I made dinner, enjoyed it in front of the TV. It doesn't get better than that. It was cozy. It's a nice night. Probably, you may have had more fun if you were courtside at Bankers Life or whatever, Gainbridge, sorry. I didn't call it Conseco, so get off my back. But yeah, it's nice to be there for a win. I've just been there for too many that I don't like. I thought Purdue was going to handle their business. And if you go back a couple weeks, I have it on tape where I didn't think Purdue would lose to Iowa State. I didn't think they'd lose to Auburn today. And they handle their business. They do what they're supposed to. And the guys in studio on NBC at a point, they said, do you think that Iowa State game is one of the most important games for Purdue just because it kind of set them right? Because they've kind of been on a tear. I think it's a fair thing to say. Many of the commenters here have been saying Purdue plays to the level of their talent. Those critics, what they're really saying is Purdue is not motivated enough in games that weren't big games. How do you look at this one? I mean, you're playing a ranked team, but you're playing a team you know you're a little bit better than. You have better personnel than. You're playing in Indianapolis for a different group of alums. It was a Purdue dominant crowd, of course, because you had the Butler and Northwestern game before, so that didn't have many people there. But yeah, Purdue looked really good, and Oregon is just raining fire right now in JMU. This will be the second blowout of the day after Tulane got whipped. Both Tulane and JMU are playing with coaches that are in transition out the door, but they allowed both of them to coach. So it's another interesting factoid. But Oregon is now up 33-3 before the half. It's not good. Nate Cunningham says, what a response after Iowa State. Love to see how we got a gut check and we responded. So that's where you stand on it. I think the team is playing with edge right now. I think that's fair. I I still think they can play better defense overall. We've seen it in a couple games where they've actually turned it on. Today, especially in the first half, I don't want to say it looked slow, like a slow start, but it wasn't a great start. And this team is not a great starting team. They just kind of grind down teams, and all of a sudden you look up and they're up by 12 or 13 points. And that's kind of how it was in the first half of this one. Steve Azzano says, not sure Auburn is that good of a team this year. Still good to beat a P4 team by 28. And I don't know where this one will fall for the net rankings. It would probably be whatever they call it, second division, right? Team. It's a good win. It's a good win. And Purdue beating the teams you're supposed to beat and losing only to a very good team is not that bad of a place to be in, of course. But I still the Iowa State, let me give you a confession. The Iowa State game changed the way I look at this season a lot. I don't look at every game as how does this affect Purdue's national title run, or how does this affect their ability to get to Indianapolis for Final Four anymore. So it's probably a good thing for me as a fan, because I'm just like, let's enjoy the game. Today I was not nervous, anxious, whatever, before, like I have been known to get. And the reason is I think they knocked themselves out of being, I'm not going to say they're not a contender, but they're definitely not, they don't look like an elite team after getting their ass kicked, right? They're still a very, very good team. And I know a lot of Purdue fans might be mad at me or take umbrage because I know it's just one loss. But getting beaten that badly at home, it changed my perspective a little bit. So I'm not overreacting. I know some of you will say I'm overreacting. If you think I'm overreacting, look at the statistical significance of getting beaten that badly. So I think Purdue is really, really good team still. But I would say you shouldn't get beaten that badly ever. And so it's changed my perspective on the season. Can they go to the national championship? Can they go to the Final Four? Can they win a national championship? Sure, absolutely. Is statistical probability and history on their side? No, it's not anymore. Is that the most important thing? Absolutely not. Does the team hear things like what I'm saying in their ears when they play? I hope so. I hope they do. So does it change anything about my loyalty? Hell no, it doesn't. All right. Marshall Briggs says, what an awesome palate cleanser from the past week of Purdue news. Salad game, wall-to-wall, boiler up. Yeah, the longer the football news of the way the coaching staff shifts are going, the more Purdue fans are getting angry. I can tell you it's not getting lighter on Twitter. There are people that are diehards that are still really upset, still really angry about the news this week and the moves that Odom has made. So I'm not alone. If you didn't see or listen to my podcast, my last one, my reaction, I don't know. It wasn't a quick cast. I didn't claim it was going to be. I knew it was going to be long because I was going to rant a little bit. It's 50 minutes long. A lot of you guys sounded off. Really, really good stuff from everybody here. But yeah, not positive. And it's nice to see Purdue beat a ranked team that badly, that easily, of course. Andy in Colorado says, this game was just what the doctor ordered. Absolutely. Jerry Huff says, the game took the bad football taste out of my mouth. Apologize for doubting Benner. Yeah, see, if you're one of those guys, yeah, I appreciate the apology because, some of us believe in Benner. I think he's such an important cog. And if Purdue's going to make a run this year, it's going to be somebody like him who's a quiet, steadfast leader that gets pretty pissed off to light a fire under the team. You can tell they rally around him when he starts doing what he does, taking charges, doing the little stuff, getting gritty, getting grimy. He can also bomb. Yeah, he's a great player. Karen Grubach says, nice win, 5 players in double figures. That's been a good point. That's been that's the secret sauce this year, right? Getting a bunch of guys, a bunch of double figures, right? A lot of guys around 10 to 13 points. That's a very good point, Karen. Love the roll guys coming in big. Happy holidays to all Boilers. Merry Christmas to you, Karen, as well. MMA Boiler says, amazing win for the fan base that needs it right now. Avenging a horrible loss against an insufferable fan base puts a big smile on my face. Same. Thad Grubaugh says, the difference from being a Sweet 16 team and a championship level team is going to be consistent Fletcher Lawyer. Hopefully CJ and Harris can contribute or can continue on the trajectory. There's no doubt that they need Fletcher Lawyer to play better than he did today. And then he really has for the past 2 weeks, longer than that, 2.5 weeks, right? The funny thing is he started off the season better than he has any any campaign so far in his career. He was shooting brilliantly, and so he needs to find his way in, and I believe he will. I hope everybody understands that. I'm not writing the guy off by any means, but 0 for 7 is pretty atrocious. Ed Albany says, I think Liam, Harris, CJ, Benner can make up for Lawyer not being consistent. And they have, right? Greg McManus says, it's different when you can do dishes, host in-laws, not have any anxiety during a game. Not used to that for an Indy game. Yeah, that's a really good point, Greg. And this is like, Indy has been a house of horrors for Purdue. It just has. That's what I think of first. So, whatever. It's always good to be able to get ready for Christmas, to get ready for the stuff that's coming the next day or 2, day or 3, whatever your family's doing, and watch a Purdue game, and it's just like, this is good. It's good. Just take a deep breath. Absolutely good stuff, Greg. Chris Harder says, new mic. Yes, Chris. So this is, I don't know if I told you about this one. We can, you and I can geek out on it via text, but yeah, new mic. I went back and I listened to the quality I was getting from my old mic. I don't know if something broke in it, if it had a bit of a short, but it was hissing a little bit. And in the high parts, it was, I don't know if it was an echo. Again, I said, I'm not an audiophile, but I can tell you it didn't sound right to me. I know what my voice sounds like to me. And then I want that to sound as close as it can when I stream. So yeah, new mic. Karen Grubach reminds me of the John Wooden Classic and the Crossroads Classic. I was at the John Wooden Classic, by the way, when Purdue beat Steph Curry and company. So, but my record at the Crossroads Classic was atrocious. I blame me. I also blame IU, Notre Dame, Butler, reversible jackets, or really a reversible sweatshirt and then a jacket over top. They were the worst. They were the absolute worst to deal with. Greg, I already heard from you. Let's see. D. Nils says, all I want from Santa is another stress-free win, and I got my wish. Excellent. So now we get to take a deep breath and enjoy the blessings of the season. It's gonna be a fun Christmas. Blake Marty says, Pettiford held to 5 points, 3 of 12 from the field. Who was guarding him? I think that guy also had 14 assists. Yeah, that's a really good point. Braden Smith, that's one, if you want to say how important is that Iowa State game, Braden Smith has been different defensively since the Iowa State game. There's no doubt about it. And he had a couple scout video steals where he was in the passing lane. Did he have, how many steals? They only give him credit for 1 or 2? Or was it 3? Doesn't matter. But he was bottling up Pettiford. And Pettiford's really tough, really good player. Pettiford also, his numbers are a little turned off because he went out with I think it was a rolled ankle, so it won't be serious. I like that guy. He's one of the guys on Auburn I liked last year. And if you remember last year, he was just throwing lobs all day long to Auburn Supermen. Like my son said, why did he come back? I don't understand. I probably because he got a decent bag here, but he's a guy that I think he's an NBA talent. He's a great player. He's a little bit small for an NBA point, but he's got decent size. He'll be okay. Need to be in verse. Andrew says, I like Purdue's effort on defense. Ken Palm had Auburn as the number 15 offense, and to hold them to 60 with heavy bench use and a ton of garbage time was pretty cool. Yeah, I agree. And this Auburn team, though, I think those stats are a little skewed because they've had a couple games where they've routed teams. I don't know if they're that good of a. I'm not faulting you. I'm faulting the stats. I've watched them play a couple times where they beat up on teams. I can't tell you which games those were, but they're definitely not the juggernaut that they've been the last few years. And our eyes tell us the same thing. So let's see. Greg Stuckey says, I've mentioned before, love the shirt. Need you to hook me up. Yeah, sorry. That's it. This is all we got. We ran these, I think, 2 years ago, had them printed. And it's a good one. I wanted this to come out. So Jay did this one, and we just did another Boiled Sports staffer Christmas gift. And if the boys are listening, they don't know it's coming, but soon. But it's a cool one too. But this was a little before that. And Jay and I have figured out a design language we have internally we're trying to nail down. And this is a cool one, but I wanted this a little darker. And it turned out pretty well, even though it didn't get what I want. Benjamin Roberts Media says, looking handsome, Dowd. Merry Christmas. Celebrate with a near 30 piece of over Auburn. Yeah, it's an unusual game. I think any Purdue fan, maybe some of you had a little of that like pregame anxiety that I didn't have. And to just kind of go through it really, really comfortably, it's a weird feeling for Purdue fans, right? Because I think you've heard people say on local radio and local TV, when are Purdue fans actually comfortable with a game? And Jay and I have talked about this. What's the point differential? It depends upon the situation. But if you're anything like me tonight, I was gliding through. So what's that? That's a good point. LBD said depends on the coach. I think he's right. And it might be that simple because you're like, okay, do you have a coach that can counterpunch? Do you have a coach that really motivates guys, gets them wind up?
Pearl today.
Huh?
You said about Pearl today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. He's no Bruce Pearl. I'm going to go. Boiler Up, Hammer Down says, came home to visit family in Indy. Got in just in time for tip-off. Nice nightcap with BS before crashing. So did you get to the game? Or did you just watch it with family? Either way, that's a pretty nice trip. Enjoy your Christmas with your family. That's awesome. Jason D says, Brock Spack's ISU up 21-6 just before halftime in their semifinal game. Coach Spack is legit. His teams are consistent. I would love for him to get one more stint at Purdue, and he's not going to get. Jay Westfall says, had a couple of glasses of Napa Cab tonight. Nice. That is not a competitive. A nice glass of red is not a competitive get your juices flowing type beverage. No offense. That's kind of like, yeah, feeling pretty good. Nice night, taking it easy. So that's good. I think we're all in lockstep here. Mackie Man 13 says, April 7th will be the best sports day of the year 2026. Boy, I hope it happens, guys and girls. I told you, like, what you got? Oh, it's ugly. It's ugly. Sorry. LBD's commenting on the Oregon game. It's not good. It would be a special weekend to have a reunion with all you guys in Indy. I hope it happens. I hope we get to connect again. The last Final Four was a lot of fun for BSers and Purdue family in general. Let's see. AirTech says, if Fletcher hits, this could have been a 40-point blowout. It's a good point. If Fletch plays towards his average, yeah, but I like being devil's advocate. If Fletch plays like he normally does, right? If he hits 30% of his threes, not up near 40, do we get to see as much Harris, right? Harris came in, did exactly what you should do off the bench. He came in, took good shots. They were wide open looks, and he knocked them down. Something that Purdue fans, we've watched other teams do for a long time, right? It's always like, oh, that guy's wide open. Of course he hits. But, yeah, Harris and Cox were awesome. When they were given shots, they took them. Brent Williams says, is it me or is Clough hedging too far out and causing Purdue to over-rotate on defense? I think there's a couple times. You see it when – this is one of those games where Clough wasn't – it wasn't just on defense, right? Where he just wasn't he wasn't deep enough, period, right? I'm not going to get on Clough too badly because it's funny. Like just a game or two ago, right here on this very website, people were asking, is it possible that Clough gets the All-American nod, not TKR? Here's what you've got. You've got a three-headed monster in Purdue's front court, right? Or back court. Front court, sorry. In the front court of guys that can dominate any night, one of those three guys can go off, or multiple, they can pop off. Tonight was TKR. So was Clough a little bit out of position? Yes, he was. Is it something that's consistently a problem? I don't think so. So I think it's a fair criticism tonight, but no. Nunia says another cupcake win. It's funny to say look at Auburn as a cupcake, but yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I'm going to get down. Thomas Witzlinski. I nailed it the first time. Thomas. I did it. Lawyer 0 for 7 from three-point land and still winning by 28 speaks volumes as how balanced the Boilers are. If they get everyone cooking at the same time, it could be an epic blowout. It's going to happen. I said this about football, so those of you who remember me saying stupid things and like to hold me accountable, I'll hold myself accountable first. I said, when you put everything together, you're going to do something special to the football team. This is a little more realistic to say the basketball team will have one of those days where everybody is clicking. The problem is there are only so many shots. That's really the only criticism about that idea, right? Because if you have a day where Lawyer's hitting, and Smith's hitting, and Clough's hitting, and TKR's hitting, and Cox is hitting, and off the bench, Meyer and Jakari are hitting, and Daniel Jacobs hitting, you score, 160 points. So, yeah, so there's a limit to this just because of time. Scare Time Studios, nice username, says, I love this team defense right now. Top 16 KenPom right now. Number 1 offense, and it's not close. Yeah, they are playing a much more resolute brand of defense. And I really think, like we talked about earlier, it comes from Braden Smith really, really setting a tone. And he's done that for a couple games. He is taking the toughest defensive assignments almost every night, and then he's living up to it. So he said something in a post-game comment to Newbert, where he said something along the lines where it took me too long to figure out how I need to go hard every possession. And
one thing he did bad though.
What?
The tip out of bounds.
Tip out of bounds. Which one was
They
it?
reviewed it.
Oh yeah, gosh, yeah. He had one of the dumbest pleas for Painter to get the replay where he tipped the ball off of his own thigh. It looked like, and he said, yeah, please review that one, because he knew he was right. And it clearly went off his thigh. And Hummel had a hilarious comment. He said, all basketball players are liars. It was hilarious. I think Braden knew it went off his thigh. And I also think there's no way he thought that was going to be missed by videotape. So that was a funny moment. So there you go. That's a bad moment for Braden. So Jack-O-Lantern22, Jay Money is here, says, does your aversion to Indy Purdue games extend to the tourney or just Christmas time games? Okay, it's a good question. This year, if they're in Indianapolis, it will not be in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. It will be in Lucas Oil. So I am A-OK. I have no aversion of Purdue and Lucas Oil as a basketball team. So that's a good question, Jay. I appreciate you bringing that up. Jay knows more than anybody. He knows more than maybe only person who might know more about it is the guy to my left, my son. Actually, Ed Seago also knows about it because he was kind enough to give me an extra ticket, and we would go and watch Purdue lose together. And that's Kyle Seago's cousin. I don't see Kyle here today. Thanks, Kyle, for nothing. But yeah, me and Indianapolis in Gainbridge, Conseco, Bankers Life, Fieldhouse, it's a bad formula. I'll keep going. Let's see. Sam Q1 says, Fletch gets rattled against physical backports. It's his MO. Great dude, but has consistent flaws. I don't want to keep saying the same thing. I really don't, but I'll say it again. Go back and look at games versus teams like Tennessee, versus teams like Arizona, versus teams like Illinois. All right? I'm not mad at you, Sam. I'm mad at this narrative. Today was bad. That was he had open looks that he just missed. And one of them he missed really badly. Like I said, it looked like an eyesight issue. So that had nothing to do with a physical backcourt. He's not shooting great right now. He's just not. He had one okay game in a field of 4, I believe.
I'll check it.
Yeah, LBD's the stat guy. When I try to do that, bad things happen. But he had one game where he shot well, and it's been bad. So I don't like that narrative because I don't think it's true. If it, huh? Over 7. Oh, I know. So I don't think it's a fair statement. So because he's had too many games on big stages versus very good teams that were athletic where he played well. So I don't think that's a fair statement. I'm all for getting after players when they're, being honest with them. That's fine. So let's see. Sam continues, says, sad to see Tulane and JMU not having much success in college football playoff. Had higher hopes. I agree. I wanted to see them do better. But like I said, there are extenuating circumstances in both of those programs. It's not a perfect situation, right? Both coaches. In fact, Tulane's coach, Summerall, not an extra, Summerall, said he's got 1 foot in Gainesville and 1 in Tulane and in New Orleans, I guess. He said it in a tweet. And that statement alone is admitting that not all of his attention is going to the preparation of the game, the football game for Tulane. And I think that's very, very true with Chesney, too, who's headed to UCLA. So not perfect situation for them. M3 adjuster, my buddy says. Both Purdue and IU have played terribly in the Big Ten tourney in Indy at Gainbridge. Nice to get an easy win there. Final four will be at Lucas Oil. Yes, we're on the same page. Right on. Boiler JB says Fletcher will be fine. He's just an easy target for some fans. He will be fine, and he is fine. And it was a bad game.
Defensive stat.
Huh? Yeah, there's a weird defensive stat going out there about how Purdue's defensive efficiency is off the charts better when Fletch Lawyer is in.
27 points better.
27 points.
100 possessions.
27 points better per 100 possessions. It's a crazy fact. And I don't know if did Cobra put that up? Sounds like something he would do, but I'm not sure. It may not be him. I like to give Cobra. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Evan, how do you say, what's his last name?
Kawa, I think?
Yeah, Evan something. He and Cobra are really, really good follows on Twitter. Evan Miyakawa?
Yeah.
Okay. Bless you. Yeah, he puts good stuff out, so right on. Yeah. So good point, Sam. I see you down there. Miyakawa. Greg McManus jumps in on. So I think that's it, and I know I'm over 20 minutes. I am at 36 minutes. Sorry, guys. For those of you who love quick post games, I'll do better. I probably won't. I'll be honest. So, but great talking to you guys. Great seeing Purdue roll through one. James Denton, I didn't read his, says, Lawyer doesn't seem the same right now. Maybe he needs to be replaced in the starting lineup. Okay, so here, I got a comment on this one too. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I don't think there's any way that happens unless the Lawyer says, Coach, I don't deserve to start. Take me out. Where he requests it, and I don't think he will. Painter's not going to take him out of the starting lineup. I think Painter wants he and Braden to blow away the record. They've already beaten the record for all-time wins as a starting tandem at Purdue, but I don't think he'll be taken out of the starting lineup. I just don't think it's going to happen. Let's see. Treasure Hunt says, I don't know, PNW says, can we let Jacobson start for maybe 2 minutes so we can always win the tip? Yeah, that's a good point. And Purdue never wins the tip right now. They don't even come close.
Hey, I was wrong. It's CBB Analytics who posted that.
CBB Analytics, so it's not Evan Miyakawa. Yeah, CBB Analytics. Not as good as Evan, in my opinion. So, not bad, but not as good as them. So, Sam, very funny comment. Knocking it out. I'm not going to read that one, but it's a good comment. I see it. I see you, bro. All right. Hammer down, everybody. Merry Christmas. I'll try to talk to you before Christmas. Maybe put something on here. Maybe LBD will come on camera since he's on Christmas break. But who knows? God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. If you don't see me, Merry Christmas. See ya.